Okay, this might be weird to do. This is the first time I do something like this. This is not really a video response. I don't know if I would call it a response or something, but it just came to my mind that there's a reason on the Dragon Ball wiki. What is going on with Dragon Ball Super? I stopped watching or following Dragon Ball Super content since a really long while ago, I think. I haven't made anything related to Super Saiyan because not everything has been said, but it's a lost cause. Why are we here? It's filler, and it's not adding anything. Characters are flanderized, some characters act completely different. It's all nothing but fan service. Power scaling is out of the roof. And I think now I understand why that is the case, because there seems to be no correlation between Toyotaro, Toy Staff, and Toriyama. I think that's because someone else made me aware of this problem, and apparently, um, maybe I didn't pay attention to it. People say Jiren got nerfed in the Super Heroes movie. I don't think he was nerfed. I think more that's how Jiren's supposed to be. Is the original Jiren. And with the original Jiren, I mean the Jiren that is in Toriyama's script. Or maybe it isn't even in Toriyama's script. We don't know. Maybe it's in his mind, and he just did not convey what he wanted to tell. Because I don't think that a lot of things that Dragon Ball Super does and what we have understand from Dragon Ball so far is in any sense comprehensible. Maybe I give you an example. Do you remember Battle of Gods? Because we will come back to Battle of Gods. You know, anyone who follows this channel, anyone who has seen me complain about Dragon Ball Super knows how much I despise Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. Yes, the original Battle of Gods. It's probably the worst version. And I have seen the Super version. It's awful. Not a single good arc version of that movie exists. Maybe the manga version is a bit better. I don't remember much about it. The point is, while it is not stated in the movie itself, Toriyama made clear that the power gap between Goku and Beerus is not significant. Like, Goku is not even half as weak as Bills. So if it bothers you, I call the cat Bills. Bills, God of Destruction. That's how I heard his name first. How certain translations say it. So I will say it, because Dragon Ball fans also don't respect how certain characters are pronounced, because there are so many pronunciations, there are so many alternative ways in how you experience Dragon Ball. Some call Goku just Son Goku, some call Vegeta Vegeta, and Krillin, Bulma, Bluma, but it doesn't really matter, it shouldn't bother you. And it doesn't bother me if you use a different pronunciation, because there's no consistent pronunciation, there's no consistent way of writing certain characters' names. So why even bother? Back to the point I was making. Basically, Bills is not that significantly stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku at the original Battle of Gods, and I think if you watch the anime and manga of Dragon Ball Super, you would come to this similar conclusion. Because if we see these retcons in quotation marks, how builds goalpost is keep being moved. He appears to be even stronger and stronger every time, every new arc. He is stronger than Goku Black. He is stronger than Jiren. Like, he is stronger than Moro. I don't get it. What's going on in Dragon Ball Super? It makes no sense. And it's really hard to, how should I put it, to make sense of what's going on. And I think in the various Super Saiyan form rants I made about Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct, Ultra Instinct is not a form technically, but Toei made it a form. That's another thing. So, I don't know how to comprehend all this. The thing is, in Toriyama's mind, Bill's power is not retconned, and the difference between Bill's and Jiren's power is not that significant. And I think if you can make sense of it, right? If you think about it. In terms of, apparently, Zamasu should have lost against Goku and Vegeta just teaming up. I mean merge Zamasu, not regular Zamasu or evil Goku. Because I don't think regular Zama's supposed to be even stronger than a regular Super Saiyan. And sometimes after the times in the future arc, he is strong enough physically to fight Super Saiyan Blue tier characters. It's not that outrageous. You can headcanon that he trained with evil Goku. But in terms of how I think the story tried to reason with it, it's really hard to put things somehow together, because you know how awful the evil Goku arc is, and that's forget the tension, forget the Xeno button. They could have used it all the time. I'm talking about Vegito, how Vegito was treated. Vegito and this merged Zamasu appeared to be equal. Zamasu even avoided a freaking final Kamehameha. Like, did he dodge it? Did he tank it and still remain unharmed? I don't know, and I don't care. What was done is that Vegito appeared weaker to us viewers than Goku on his own. When you see the purple goo on Zama's body in that same episode Vegito appeared. Goku did this. Goku did that by himself with a Kamehameha, and then he wasn't even out of juice. Pretty much, he could still use a Kaioken, which he did. And after all that you can headcanon, Zamasu was worn down. He got killed. His physical body got killed by Future Trunks with the Spirit Sword, which is just dumb. In this, technically, you can say, well, the manga handled it better, but in the manga, it is implied that maybe Vegito is able to fight builds. But what we have seen in Battle of Gods, a fusion between two Super Saiyan gods, should easily stomp builds. Should is the key word, because Goku pushed builds to use 60% or whatever, I don't know, 70%. in the movie, and the adaptations didn't make that much of a difference. You could see, even if Bills pulled back, the way he was beaten up and thrown through clouds, as an Christian Dynamo would say. Check out this channel. You can't reason that Vegito, Super Saiyan got Vegito, and we got Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, which is supposed to be stronger, would not beat Bills in the same arc. And chronologically speaking, you expect our heroes to get stronger, but it appears they get weaker instead. And that's what Amos, the guy who, it's pretty much how should I say it? It's kind of weird to do a shout out to a channel who is significantly bigger than yours. I don't think he really needs a shout out. I probably, if anyone knows this channel, I don't think anyone from my channel who isn't on his, checked out his channel, would move to it, and I don't think there's any benefit for him, but I still want to mention Amos because he inspired me to make this video, because he made a few, I checked out a few of his live streams because he has some really good inputs, even his discussions regarding where he reacts to someone else's video. If you know me, I don't like reaction channels, but he actually does a good reaction because he takes an argument, because I think this is how you use reaction channels. You watch a video, it's about the topics, they provide information, and he takes that information and puts his spin on it. Instead saying, oh, this is interesting, and making weird faces or something, which you see in multiple reaction channels on YouTube. This is a way, it's more like a traditional video response you see on, you used to see on old YouTube. I'm kind of miss the old response system. Back to what Amos was saying, because I keep rambling around the point, is he talked about the future of Dragon Ball in regards to Super, and you know I don't see any future because Dragon Ball is basically over. Everything we get is just content to, how should I say it, kinda respect or remind us, wow, this franchise exists. Sometimes we provide something for you to be satisfied with. Originally it was like that. I mean, Yo Son Goku, maybe a crossover with One Piece, maybe some OVA with Yo Son Goku. Did I probably mentioned it, or something like episode of Bardock, which is awful, but it's a spin to the story. What if Bardock survived and traveled back in time to turn into a Super Saiyan? It's awful, but it's just silly fan service stuff. It doesn't harm anyone. Dragon Ball Super the problem with Dragon Ball Super is that it gives the illusion, let's say, that they want to provide something, and that's why I think people are disappointed. It took me a while to understand, because from my perspective, Dragon Ball Super doesn't add anything. It's just, and with adding I mean to the characters, to the story, it doesn't improve anything. In fact, it just harms it. Like, we know Goku will train Oop at the end of Dragon Ball. And the reason GT is kinda accepted in that regard is because it's an actual sequel. It takes place after the manga concluded, the anime concluded. Dragon Ball Super is still before the ending of the manga. That's why I keep referring it to as a filler. I don't mean so to, or it has no manga or something. To in the original, because it's not even an adaptational material. Because Dragon Ball Super manga and Dragon Ball Super anime, they tell a similar story but with a different perspective, and that's not a bad thing, I think. Um, there's a merit to adapting a story one to one. There's also a merit because obviously Emish mentioned it in one of his discussions that some people prefer media in readable. He prefers to see things animated. And personally, I'm also more of an anime fan. If I can pick anime or manga, I would usually pick anime because there's much more you can do with anime by animating stuff, but you cannot, which is pretty hard to do in book format. And I don't think that many animes of in this age, and maybe it's wrong for me to say it because I don't watch every single anime that's coming out, but I've had enough experience in the last few years. I've watched a lot of anime during my time at college when I was studying, that a lot of the stuff gets compromised and we are just told stuff. There's less animations because animators get paid less. There's less incentive to, how should I say it, to, well, because the animators are underpaid, we get lesser animation than what we could see. And so the animators have to compromise by info dumping stuff like an entire power system of an isekai gets 5 minutes invested. Maybe I'm exaggerating because it's been a while I watched an isekai where every single thing rules of the game story, because most isekai are based on video games, gets info dumped, explained to us hastily, and we just have to sit through it like it's homework to actually enjoy what is about to come. So it may appear that in a modern sense, manga seems more appealing to anime for many, because also the violence is a thing, but that's more so TV censorship, because technically there's nothing that prevents anime to be as violent, or if not more violent than the manga. If you want some comparison or some kind of reference, I think there are many classic anime that do this thing. I won't stay on this topic too long. I just want to finish this thought I have, where because I'm not used to talking like this. I should maybe have scripted this. So there's a merit to adapt. There's a merit to tell a different story. In terms of telling a different story, I also have an example. Saint Seiya is probably the first thing that comes to mind, which tries to do something completely different, despite telling the same story to the version of the manga. Same with Kinnikuman Nisei, which is Ultimate Muscle. And probably animes you guys didn't see, probably animes that are before your time, that use a certain element of the show, but adapted in a way that is acceptable to a different audience. For example, the authors of Kinnikuman wanted to tell a more mature story, so they stopped publishing in Shonen Jump and moved to Playboy. But when you want to adapt a story from but originally Kinnikuman is more like a comedic story, but it has a lot of violence and adult humor now. So what the animators at Toei did is try to take the elements of the sequel and told in a way where they can still provide a similar experience, what Kinnikuman is known for, but in an acceptable way for an audience that is not the target audience of the manga. So in case focusing more on violence, they focus more on the humor aspect. And while Kinnikuman is an action show, it still has really good action, so you will get entertained, in my opinion, if you can get past of the weird designs of the characters. But if you watch One Piece, why not watch Kinnikuman, as Kinnikuman apparently inspired One Piece. So I'm sure you will enjoy it too. It's a completed series, so if you got the time, you can check it out. Back to what this means to Dragon Ball, because I think I moved. I went off topic too much. Because Dragon Ball Super is just... It also adapts the same thing, but tells two different stories, but those two different stories, from my understanding, have not my theory, because yeah, we need more series in this on this platform. They don't really adapt what Toriyama envisioned, and what I mean by Toriyama envisioned is what he intended, not what he really wants, because I don't think Toriyama cares about Dragon Ball. No matter what you say, Toriyama doesn't. You can forget about it. Toriyama has probably forgotten about the scale he made. And he might reference, he has maybe an idea that Goku and Bills are about equal, but he doesn't really have the context of what happened in these stories. And if you watch, he also doesn't, if he were to care about the Tournament of Power, maybe I can find it, but it would take a little while, where the guys who wrote the Tournament of Power for the anime mentions that Toriyama basically gave them a small checklist, but he didn't tell a lot of detailed stuff, what's gonna happen, just the order of eliminations, that everyone fights in one battlefield, and that Goku will use Ultra Instinct against Jiren or something. I will try to get the article as I progressively get closer to the topic I'm talking about. So a lot of things you might like or not like about Dragon Ball Super's Tournament of Power, that might not be even because of Toriyama. The back-tangle stuff and whatnot, that's not Toriyama doing. It's not that I guarantee it. It's pretty apparent, I think. The next, and most obviously, is Gohan. The way Gohan protects, there's no way Toriyama wrote Gohan and Piccolo's relationship like he did, anyone did in the Tournament of Power. But it's technically possible that he would nerf Gohan for a few more times to give him another free power up. but I want to give Toriyama the benefit of the doubt that he let Gohan lose so much power that he needs to an entire movie to reawaken his ultimate power and get a power up on top. Is what I'm gonna say. And the next thing is, okay, we know that Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan God is not that far away from builds. So Toriyama also wrote Revival of F, and what appeared in Revival of F? We got Super Saiyan Blue, or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan as it was originally called, and Golden Frieza. And it was also mentioned that the movie made clear that Goku and Vegeta need to learn to work as a team. Because if they team up, nobody can beat them apparently. Or rather, even builds would lose against them, is what this was telling them. And I think this is something you guys need to keep in mind. Like, they could win against builds. So considering the power gap between Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue is not as significant, and I assume originally it was intended that Super Saiyan Blue is just an alternative version of Super Saiyan God. If anything, this is a bit of headcanon, you could say, but if you watched Battle of Gods, why was Goku Super Saiyan at the end and still fought about evenly against builds? And I think the key is Super Saiyan. And I think this Super Saiyan Blue is Super Saiyan, the same Super Saiyan, but having the full power of Super Saiyan God, if that makes sense. Like Goku and Vegeta tap to the power of their godly power by transforming into Super Saiyan. Because you know the entire concept of Saiyan Beyond God, which was, I think it was flat out dropped because Super Saiyan is just that Mac will, and they didn't want to, yeah, it's just a palette swap, they didn't want to lose the iconic palette swap of Golden Ogre with because Goku going Super Saiyan is just that iconic that they didn't want that form to disappear. Because if you logically think, and it might be really hard to believe, and this is my mind trying to make it, don't take this as a fact, this is my mind trying to make try to get make a reason, find a reason why Gohan has to go Super Saiyan in the movie, because I don't think Toriyama forgot, or Toei forgot. And the reason why Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue against Frieza immediately, why would, okay, Goku and Frieza have fought equally, and Goku had an edge about Frieza, Final Form Frieza, and he was in Saiyan Beyond God. I don't know if that's still a thing or whatnot. And now the question is, why would he go Super Saiyan Blue? Why would he not go to Super Saiyan? Why would he not go to Super Saiyan God? And the thing about Super Saiyan God, what we understood about Super Saiyan God is that Super Saiyan God is ritual exclusive. Or maybe Goku, once the ritual is done, you can go whenever you want. But there are some caveats to it. And one of those caveats might be that it has either a time it has a time limit, how long you can stay in it. And the other caveat, I assume, is that Goku doesn't want to go Super Saiyan God because it's not his power. It was something that was just given to him. While Super Saiyan Blue is more like he got used to the power and now he can reach it through other means, like using his normal ki. And transforming into a Super Saiyan, he can slowly, through training under this, get to Super Saiyan God. That's what I think. And which would have been interesting. People have been there's a reason why people debated which is stronger, Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue, because nobody really had an idea if it was a form beyond Super Saiyan God. Because in the context of a revival of F, if you reason, it makes no sense for Super Saiyan Blue to be a form beyond Super Saiyan God. The next thing is, like, let's assume it from the perspective, if it were a form, if it were a stronger version, the pop-up should not be so significant that it would make Bills worried, because if you watch the movie, Bills didn't give a damn about Golden Freezer, and I think he can sense ki. Would you, like, okay, in the movie before, wow, he was excited to fight Super Saiyan God, he was impressed enough to let Goku go. This is a legendary Super Saiyan God, like, he dreamed about it, he heard about it. Now you go to Revival of F, you have two Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which is supposed to be stronger than Super Saiyan God, and Golden Freezer. Why isn't he excited? Why doesn't he join and fight these threats? It makes no sense. In that regard, it could appear that Super Saiyan Blue is not even fully mastered in a way that Goku and Vegeta can tap into the full power of Super Saiyan Blue, because the concept of another weird thing is the concept of stamina was brought up again, where Frieza lost because he didn't train to master his form. But Super Saiyan Blue is it's still Super Saiyan, but it uses basically God Ki. So, if you watch the Cell Saga, you would expect Goku and Vegeta mastered Super Saiyan. When they go Super Saiyan Blue, which is just Super Saiyan, which uses God Ki, they would be able to handle stamina and have a good ki control by default. But if you watch Dragon Ball Super, Super Saiyan Blue has heavy stamina strength. So fighting a while, they can't hold the form for long, and it's basically Super Saiyan 3, but less extreme. And not only the anime, but also the manga. Like, if you read the manga, after transforming once against Kappa, Vegeta got so weak that he was easily manhandled by Hit, and then Goku comes up, fights up, circles about from his transformations, and each of the weaker transformation perform bad, not only better, but it was also implied that Super Saiyan Vegeta got so significantly weaker that Super Saiyan God Goku is stronger than Vegeta was in Super Saiyan Blue against Hit. It's absolutely insane. You can't reason. You cannot reason with this. And the other thing, people think because Super Saiyan God is basically a base form, and if he goes Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Blue is basically Super Saiyan for Super Saiyan God, that it has a 50 times multiplier. How do you make sense of that? Now go back. You, I understand the entire thing about retcons and whatnot, but how do you reason with this? How do you reason with this power jumps that uh, Guild is still stronger than Goku and Vegeta? They get 50 times stronger in Revival of F. Let's forget. Maybe it's not even worth talking about Revival of F. And they are still weaker. Goku goes Kaioken times 7. Oh, I'm sweating a bit, but it's like seeing a kid with a knife to builds. Basically, is what is implied in Dragon Ball Super. How are you? How am I gonna take this seriously? The power jump is so high, it's not reasonably comprehensible that build should be stronger than Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta. And I think Amish pretty much mentioned the builds has been surpassed already, and Jiren is pretty much implied through multiple references that Jiren is stronger than builds, so there's actually no point in that. But I think there is merit to that. But why are people still talking about build is still stronger? I'm honestly thinking there is something. And I don't mean just the manga, because the manga pretty much shows several things where Vegeta and Goku can not keep up with builds. Build can handle the situation whenever he wants. He thought he can kill Moro and after the Moro arc, when Goku got mastered Ultra Instinct. I think it was after that arc. The Broly movie appeared, or was it before? No, it was before. So they fought Broly. Then they went to Granola arc. You know, this is very complicated. Maybe I should have done a script. So Planet Moro is so strong that Goku has trouble, but Build still appears to be able to one-shot Moro, despite all the power-ups, all the things regarding him merging with Marius, copying Vegeta and whatnot. So how do I reason with this? How can people still, why do people believe that builds in the anime is stronger than Jiren? Because you can just watch the Super Saiyan God fight between, there was no reason Goku goes Super Saiyan God up against Jiren, but all the punches from Goku got blocked with a finger. Then he went Super Saiyan. He flat out fought Jiren, and Goku still went Kaioken and went for a Kaioken Spirit Bomb times 20 and still got beat up, and then he got a Senkai boost or whatnot and Ultra Instinct, and then almost beat the crap out of Jiren. And still people believe Belts is stronger. It's really hard to swallow all that. But I think there is a major reason to that, and that's what Dragon Ball Super basically indirectly, let's say, promised. And I think Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball Heroes pretty much caught on that, because I think if anything that gives Dragon Ball super fans what they want at Dragon Ball Heroes, even if they don't want to admit it. It's not because this problem with Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball Heroes is it's not that I want to sell Dragon Ball Super fanboys Dragon Ball Heroes, because it's not. There are two reasons they will not watch it and or read it, because it's a video game story, and there's something. It's not, the manga and anime are not made to tell a compelling story in mind. They are just advertisements. They have limited things they can do. The guys, they are, with advertisement I mean, there are no mangas that can do their own thing. They have a limited amount of pages, and in one chapter they have to tell, maybe into the guys who pay them are generous, to tell something that happens in a new arcade event. So let's say, the premise is there's a powerful guy, and Vegito has to use Kaioken to even have a chance against him. Okay, an entire episode or chapter is dedicated to that fight. And if there's some pages left, they can add some character interactions, let's say, which Super Dragon Ball Heroes did really well. And the manga version, that they can try to flesh out some of the characters. The anime doesn't flesh out anything. And so it's pretty unreasonable. But in Dragon Ball Super, they can do slice of life episodes, they can tell the aftermath or the slow thing, the things that happen before transitioning moments between certain events. Like if you watch Super Dragon Ball Heroes, you see, they lost a fight, and now they need to move to another location, but we don't see the transition. We just see the bad guys appearing and saying, "Oh, welcome, time to fight," and the guys, some of the guys that, from our knowledge, have don't know anything about the events that happen, just appear out of nowhere. There's a lot of things that characters appear out of nowhere, and we don't know why they are able to fight these bad guys. Because, power and consistency also happen in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and it's really hard to swallow Super Dragon Ball Heroes, because it's a video game story. They are gonna reuse assets a lot. It's not much different than what if stories in something like Tenkaichi Budokai 3, where you have randomly Devilman fight Frieza's army and beat the crap out of them. It's hilarious, but it's not why you would what a somewhat serious Dragon Ball fan wants to see. It's something silly, and people may like it if it's there to get animated, but something they can kinda get a grasp on is more. Would have been better for them, even if it's not a continuous story. Maybe something like, how was Goku's mother be like in the old Dragon Ball style? We know Goku's father of Goku. We know not about mother of Goku. Like, what was her life like? I know it's Gine now. I'm talking about in the perspective of an old Dragon Ball fan. You have seen that we got Father of Goku. It was a hit. Bardock OVA was pretty much amazing, but we can't get something like that in the modern era, I feel. It has to be something like that advertises a continuous story, but still not deliver on it. AKA Dragon Ball Super, AKA Super Dragon Ball Heroes, AKA Dragon Ball Daima. Like it's still a Daima is probably a continuous story, 21 episodes or whatnot. I don't really care. Maybe I watch it. Maybe I enjoy it. I don't think so. But I will forget it after a few weeks until it's brought up somehow. Maybe there's a small discussion and then it's forgotten. And what the main point Emish was saying is that people just want the main story to continue. And the question is, what is the main story? Dragon Ball Super is no It's really hard. I understand what he wants, and I have thought about it. What's the main story? Goku and Vegeta training. He made a how what do you say to that? He basically mentioned said Broly. He just said Broly. I tried to paraphrase what to get an idea to what he tries to convey in terms of, because if he says Broly, he doesn't want another Broly movie. In a sense, like he goes on a rampage, beats up everyone, and then they have to fuse to Gogeta again, and we see maybe a different outcome of what we have already seen. I think he means how his character develops, how he trains, and maybe a big fight and animation like in that Broly movie. Maybe something he even mentioned, what happened with all the budget and whatnot, and why did we get the Heroes art style? Why does Daima have this amazing animation people wanted to see? I think that's something that should frustrate Dragon Ball Super fans, and I think they kind of deserve to feel like that, and should feel like that, because that's what happened to us, Dragon Ball fans who cannot accept what Super does or modern Dragon Ball does to what we have experienced in traditional in the Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT. As much as people claim GT to be awful, it had a lot of merits in my mind in terms of concluding the story, the way stories were told, and I'm not really talking just about the concept, because I don't think Super Saiyan 4 was the only good thing about Dragon Ball GT. It could have been better, obviously, and I kinda understand. I think I do believe to know what exactly Dragon Ball fans didn't like about GT, but they just cannot grasp it. It's not they are stupid, or there's no criticism that there's something they don't like that they don't know, or wish Nappa and Vegeta had a heartwarming moment. Like in terms of fan service, it probably would have been nice, but in terms of storytelling, it would be kind of unreasonable. But they could have done something more tangible. Like, I don't want to dwell too much on it. Yeah, the only real threat from the other world was General Rildo, and I think it would have been better if Goku just finished the fight against Rildo normally, get a good fight, instead of Oop, who reasonably one-shotted it makes sense that who would be around as a serious person who wants to clean up every villain would appear and one shot someone as big as Rildo from behind, and he does have the power to do so. It's a complete opposite extreme to Revival of F, where the characters took way too much time to beat up some fodder, and there being Frieza, and he did absolutely nothing the whole time. Until the very end, where he just punched Gohan, and then they called Goku and Vegeta, which they could have done the whole time. But it is what it is. And what I think people really want, or how could Dragon Ball Super continue? Like, there are way too many. It's like we keep getting something random, and it just doesn't even add up. We have, let's think about it. Maybe you can say there were some things that were promised, but I don't feel Dragon Ball Super really delivered on what it technically promised. Maybe one thing. You can say two, but that's pretty much it. The first thing was the concept of builds being stronger than Goku, and there being someone stronger than builds who is this. Then there being 12 universes, and each universe having a god of destruction, which people used to assume that the gods of the other universes are also stronger than builds. So what two possibilities do you have? The first possibility is obviously a multiversal tournament. We got that. Technically, we got Universe 6 tournament arc and a battle royale, which was kinda awful. Now the second thing is, okay, Goku trains probably under Whis, and we get a rematch with builds maybe, or maybe see Goku and Vegeta fight through the godly ladder, fighting all the god of destructions, and maybe someday they are able to beat an angel or whatever. Or just some stuff you can kinda try to comprehend. Because if you think about it, the power gap between builds and Whis, even to Goku, is not that big. What was it? Goku is a 6, builds is a 10, and Whis is 15, so Goku, in terms of power, that's not always a good metric. Goku just needs a 3 times power boost to rival with his power. Could have been something they can build on, but who knows? So what's so back to the way how people still believe builds are stronger than Goku. I think it's actually time to have an arc settling. That is what I'm saying. But instead we got, okay, with Frieza's back and he just got unreasonably stronger. Okay, it was a silly movie Toriyama wanted to make because the composers of the opening of Death Note, which is amazing, made a song about Frieza, 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 and he liked the music so much that he wanted to make a Frieza movie. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the reason we have Golden Frieza. So he made a bullshit power-up to justify why Frieza is so strong as he is, because he's a prodigy, because everyone is a prodigy in Dragon Ball Super. Mr. Satan can go to the gym next door, train for 5 minutes, and he's stronger than Super Saiyan Blue. and you can say, "Oh, I unlocked my potential. I don't know how I did it," and fans would eat it up. Some would be angry for a few months, and like how people ended up accepting the back tingle from Cauliflower and Kel being a walking female Broly being a walking reference to Broly, and how they accepted Kefla one-shotting Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and how they accepted Android 17 being able to fight with Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and how they accepted that Gohan can get his ultimate power back, and later, after a few hours of training under Piccolo of all people, being able to fight Super Saiyan Blue Goku. You get the gist. Everyone is a prodigy, everyone can be as strong as they want, and thus rendering the entire point of Super Saiyan God being a form that Goku can't reach on his own, and a completely different world to him being a complete joke. And it's unfortunate. Back to Golden Freezer. We got this Golden Freezer movie. Okay, a copium thingy, but at least we got a tournament after that, and that tournament is basically a discount as a world tournament. Okay, it's fine. It's not a continuous story. Let's have a select tournament. Oh, Super Dragon Balls. You base. Oh, okay, we had the Black Star Dragon Balls or Ultimate Dragon Balls, depending on the adaptation you watch. They scattered in the universes. In the universe, and we got to explore in GT the universe, other planets with mixed reception. Wasn't executed too well, but we had Dragon Ball ended like 3 decades ago, and we know kinda with the internet era, it's kinda easy to know how people tick. Okay, this could be our second attempt. This time we get it right. Let's make a Dragon Ball adventure, and we can now explore Universe 6 because the Dragon Ball scatter also in Universe 6. And there's one Dragon Ball left. Okay. Chamber collected 6 of them. Okay. The tournament ended. Maybe we can get to explore Planet Salada or whatnot to find the last Dragon Ball, or figure out the planet they had the tournament on had the final Dragon Ball. But it's okay. Maybe we can collect them again. And that's where the Evil Goku arc comes in. Another callback arc, because we didn't have enough of Future Trunks. Let's run another character. The Final Fantasy reject, Future Trunks, who has to be shipped with Mai again in an alternative timeline. I don't know why Toei did that. I don't know if that's a Toriyama thing, it's just cringy. We have an evil Goku. We really needed that. Okay, maybe that's... I don't know why we did it. Why we need a time travel arc. I don't know what it adds to the training for Goku and Vegeta, because that's what people are interested in. The power gap is not too big. Goku and Vegeta can we finally explore Universe 6 or the other universes? No, we have to stay in Universe 7 still. And it's obviously Earth, even if it's another timeline, and we had been in Future Trunks timeline. Zamasu or whatever, you know the story. The arc doesn't do anything to our heroes because it's the future. The main timeline doesn't really... is not affected at all, basically. And the only thing that remains as a relic from that arc existing is obviously a second Zeno. Although it's not much different than the Garlic Jr. arc or whatnot, where you still have Marin appearing in the in the Android Saga or the Higher Dragon from the movie, a third Dragon Ball Z movie continuing to appear in the other movies or even in the anime. So in terms of canonity and whatnot. Confusing? Yeah, probably. So, but you remember these exist. So that's the concept contribution of the Evil Goku arc. We have the Tournament of Power. Wait, we didn't get to see the other universes. Why do we have to care? Let's put all these characters together. These mortals we don't care about. Let's show all the God of Destruction who will never fight. We will never see what they are capable of. Okay, they did fight, technically. And what am I supposed to get impressed by these people? Because in Dragon Ball pretty much every character fights the same. And since we don't see them fight Goku or Vegeta, we have no idea how they match up. We don't see them even fight against Bills. So if Bills was there fighting maybe the Fox God and whatnot to get that kind of gauge, we maybe would have cared. So they failed kinda to deliver in that aspect. So that's why I don't care about the God of Destructions. They are just there. Like, it's not a problem to have characters that just exist. Because we have the Grand Priest. And the Grand Priest had a presence. Just if you see the Grand Priest and how characters act around him, you know this guy is the real deal. But you can't say the same about the God of Destructions. Because for one, we know they are weaker than the God, as the angels, but we don't know how they stack up to builds or the main characters. Like even the Hakai was treated like a joke at some point. So that is taken care of. The manga, you can say there were way too many of them, and besides Chuck E. Cheese mouse character, none of them seem to have really performed impressive. I think none of them really performed impressively. And there's a reason people think all of these gods are basically fodder, because Amish pretty much said it, that they aren't fodder, and that the power gap may not be as big because birds did struggle, and there might be a tier, but at least 3 of them aren't that troublesome, aren't gonna be so weak that they are below Bill's his tier in power. But it was a really lame fight. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see more of the God of Destructions. Nothing is done with these characters, which is another thing they failed. Because if you think about other shows that have characters, an entire group of powerful characters, what do you think? You can't compare the God of Destructions to even the Shadow Dragons, because the Shadow Dragons were an active threat. You have the Akatsuki from Naruto. They were active threats. Like the Espada. And now you say, okay, the God of Destructions aren't really enemies. Think about the captains from Bleach. They have a presence. Black Clover, the Captain Knights or whatever, even these guys have a presence. But why doesn't the God of Destruction or the angels have these kinds of feelings? The only one, like I mentioned, was the Grand Priest. And this because he is the mentor of Builds and he one-shotted him once. So what? So instead, we got all these supposedly most powerful beings from all universes put into one battlefield to fight together, and you have to just reason they are powerful enough to fight Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Like, maybe you can reason the three of the characters in the tournament being able to put a fight against Goku and Vegeta. And what realistically should happen is Goku, Jiren, or Vegeta power up, everyone gets eliminated but those three. Or maybe Frieza because he was brought back, and Toppo. And the manga, Toppo was completely treated like complete trash. Okay, we got the tournament of power, was a disappointment because there was no threat. Because we know the prizes are the Super Dragon Balls, which were collected off screen. And speaking of collected off screen, they were not collected once off screen, they were collected twice off screen. They were collected 5 times off screen, because Zama's collected them 3 times by using the time ring to travel when they are useful again, and made his 3 wishes. Swapping body with Goku, wishing for immortality for another counterpart, and destroying all Dragon Balls in the universe, in all universes of the timelines they are in. That was how it was apparently. And the Super Dragon Balls had been completely dropped after the Tournament of Power. So these MacGuffins that scatter through 2 universes were collected like whenever the plot demands. There was no challenge, and these Dragon Balls just don't feel special, as they were used for rather mediocre wishes. Imagine you can say wishing all the erased characters who were erased by Zeno is an impressive feat. But do we care about these characters? I think not. Except the guys who want to fab to Khalifa, but we don't talk about that. Okay, how do we top this? Now we had a multiversal tournament. Jiren is still strong. A challenge to Goku. Goku has the means to defeat him, but he hasn't defeated him yet. Okay, we can build on that. We can. So what rivals do we have? We have builds. We have V's as an end, not even an end goal. As end goal, we might have the Grand Priest. We don't know if Zeno is even a fight. If we can put Zeno in terms of someone who can fight, I don't think he can fight. Or is threat you can handle by punching really hard. It's just he's just Hex being kinda like a genie or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe the attendants of Zeno, I assume they are strong, who are guarding him, but we don't know anything about them, and honestly I don't think anyone cares about them. What else? We have Jiren, obviously, the strongest mortal. Okay, we have some good bases. Can we build on that? No, we don't. We have Broly up here. Another Saiyan that apparently survived in Universe 7, who, because the plot demanded, jumps from tier that can beat up crabs to fighting Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. It's completely absurd. It's the perfect representation of why Dragon Ball Super is completely awful. we keep getting adding more stuff, and there seems to be no progression to what do we do next. And now I know why people think Jiren is weaker than builds, because Goku explicitly mentions that Broly might even be stronger than builds. And how do you make sense of this? Or how do you rationalize this? So, the way it was handled, you would assume that Broly has to be stronger than Jiren, in the term of how the story context is. But and here's also it's also kinda weird because we got Gogeta, and Gogeta needed to go Super Saiyan Blue of all things to put down Broly. What does it say about Toriyama's vision? I don't think Gogeta was added because of Toriyama. It's probably something that just totally added to the story, and that kind of breaks the consistency between how big the power gap is between builds, Super Saiyan God Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and Jiren. I do believe there's a power gap. I don't think the power gap is as significant as it was portrayed in the various ways in Dragon Ball. So why am I in Dragon Ball Wiki? I actually wanted to search for certain things, but I think this is a good place to continue, because Broly ended, we have another character that's incredibly powerful for no reason, to Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. Oh god, I said it again. Dragon Ball Super Superheroes, not Super Dragon Ball. Okay, I did say it correctly. See, this is completely... Am I gonna rant about this again? How much Super can they add? We have Super Dragon Ball Heroes, we have Dragon Ball Super, we have Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. How? What? Let's forget about this. Red Bull Marble is back for the billionth of time, and they made robots that happen to be stronger than Super Saiyan Blue characters. Or at the level, doesn't really matter, because bullshit ass-pulling villains that happen to be stronger than everyone seems to be the specialty of Dragon Ball at this point. Imagine, at least the Naruto fans complain about stuff like this, and they don't stop criticizing Naruto and Boruto for these kind of things. But Dragon Ball fans just eat it up. They just accept it. They could do it again, and people will just accept it. I don't know where the tolerance for Dragon Ball fans and how much can you tolerate? Where's the limit? And I think each individual has a limit, but I think collectively, because everyone wants more Dragon Ball, the large majority of the active fan base has no limit. They can just make Roshi stronger than Whis next movie, and everyone would eat it up because they like Roshi. That's the reason. They like Roshi, so it doesn't matter if he's stronger. We wanted him to be a relevant character, and then Goku can be a student under Roshi again, because yeah, we loved that moment in the original Dragon Ball, didn't we? And no offense, I liked the training arc in the original Dragon Ball, but what bothers me is basically we have been through this, and it was explicitly stated that Goku, Tia, and everyone surpassed Roshi, and now we keep giving random characters power-ups to kinda undo, in a sense, what was accomplished. And in this case, we have Gohan get weaker again to only get stronger again. And obviously a fight if Cell comes back, but he isn't really Cell. It's just a mindless monster. And Gohan gets a power-up that makes him let's say about as strong as Broly, because the only reference we have is that if Cell Max had a mind, he would even beat Broly. So Goku and Vegeta from the previous movie would have to fuse to Gogeta to fight this new Gohan. So what's next? What do we do next with this? Same with Piccolo. Piccolo is also insanely powerful, no? What do we do here? It's not that. Am I bothered by Gohan's power up? Am I bothered by Piccolo's power? By Piccolo's power up, I'm definitely bothered. I'm also bothered by Gohan's power up because he could have gone beast at any moment, and it's just nostalgia bait. We have how many nostalgia bait movies did we have? We have 3. Frieza came back, Broly came back, Cell came back, and Gohan is relevant again. How often can you do the same thing? This is what I mean. Dragon Ball Super just doesn't want to progress. And where's the promised things? And by the promised things, we got the Universal Tournament. Okay, Dragon Ball Super, clap clap. We got one of the things that you indirectly promised. Why are people still watching? What do they want from Dragon Ball Super? It's not like, I think people do want a rematch between Goku and Bills. Even if, I think collectively, this is the only way I can kinda reason why the goalpost keeps getting moved. And I think that's, in the manga, that's technically the case. That the goalpost is being moved so we can entice fans and make them desire to see Goku or Vegeta fight and actually win against Bills. Because even if they beat Bills, there is still room to grow. But they don't even finish up this part of the story arc of the promise. That's the thing I tried to tell you in 1 hour and 20 minutes, which I could have said at the beginning of the video. I apologize, dear viewers, but I think we had to do some groundwork. What did we have? Goku loses to Bills. Either he gives up or he just flat out loses, depending on the adaptation you watch. Okay, we have the God forgives them. He likes the food of the earth, and he was entertained by the fight. A strong guy, you are worth training. I want to fight you again. We don't see Bills fight anyone after this. Except a few times in the manga, but who cares? So okay, we have Bills, he wants to fight. What we know about Bills is he likes food and he likes fighting strong opponents. And we kinda see that teased in Dragon Ball Super, where he wants to a rematch with Goku. That's the only time we see him wanting a rematch, not like trying to motivate them to get stronger. We see a few times where he wants Goku to get stronger and Vegeta to get stronger, but never see any side, nor Goku nor Bills, trying to see how they progressed and finishing this ideal of getting a good fight. Like, we have seen, you can say whatever you want about GT. Goku trained, fought Oop in the end of C, and then, okay, this and that. That's, I will train you, and so we can fight again. And at the start of GT, the first thing we see is Goku versus Oop. We don't see the whole fight, and I guess it's fine to not see it, but we don't even see the conclusion, but it's not that big of a deal, because it's like, they are pretty much allied. Goku is satisfied, and Oop has graduated, and we do see both in this new story arc do something. But that wasn't the premise of Dragon Ball GT. One is Dragon Ball Z's ending of finding Goku's last thing he wants to do, something he wants to do for the end of how to end his life, maybe, and pass his knowledge to someone else, his experience and whatnot, because he did pass it on his children, but his children are so incompetent and nobody likes them. Might as well train some nobody who is extremely talented. And we see at the start they fight, Oop graduates. Battle of Gods promised, not by explicitly stating, for something really big. Fights against God of Destructions, surpassing maybe Goku actually being strong enough to have a real fight with Whis, which will never happen because angels must not fight seriously or they will die. Wow. And the last thing is Multiversal Tournament, but it was done hastily. And another thing obviously is exploring the universes because of the Super Dragon Balls, but nothing was done with them. Freaking superheroes, Super Dragon Ball heroes has to do all this. It's just something for that fan game, but not for Dragon Ball Super. So what do I call this video? A rant for Dragon Ball Super fans, because Dragon Ball Super fans seem to not really care about why. I don't understand it. Like, I don't care what happens in Dragon Ball Super anymore, because to me it's filler. I don't care if Goku surpasses builds or not. I could care less. I'm just trying to understand I'm just trying to talk for you guys. Because apparently you don't, and it's just, we keep getting some random shit, or maybe we get Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Super. Why do you want what merit does it have to have Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Super? It's my favorite form. I don't want it to get ruined. But what do you get if Super Saiyan 4 is in Dragon Ball Super? What would it change? Oh, you have one original form. Okay. It will be outdated and by another palette swap or something. We have so many transformations and they add nothing of value, but visually looking something different and making some headcanons. Could have purple. We could have purple Krillin in the next movie. We can have five-eyed Tenshinhan in the movie after that, but he would lose because nobody cares about TN. But I think it has to be done. We have to have Goku versus Bills and the match to conclude to finally settle the show. Okay, we don't know if Goku is up, if Jiren or Bills, whichever is stronger. What we want to know, or at least I assume you would want to know, because that's what Super technically promised, is how do they stack up? When will Goku finally put that cat out of his misery? When will he just beat the crap out of him? We want Goku to beat. With we, I mean you guys, I don't really care. To beat the crap out of Bills. Finally a victory where the Bills can say, you have finally surpassed me, but there's still foes ahead that are stronger, and maybe motivate him to train himself for once. And maybe we can actually make stories where Bills has to fight himself. Wow. Maybe, okay, let's say you don't want Goku and Bills to fight. You can still show that Goku has surpassed him in a way that we see. But I think it's pretty much better than when you just let the two fight each other. Because that's the entire premise why Bills is tolerating their existence on his planet, besides the food. He wants to find them. I assume. Because that was the whole point. Now he has so many people he can be excited to fighting. Black Freezer, Ultra Instinct Goku, Ultra Ego Vegeta, Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, Broly, and the Granola, but nobody cares about Granola and he's probably dead. Oh yeah, I forgot Granola arc. Didn't do another pretty much filler arc because nothing of that arc carries over to superheroes. What? I don't know. And what do you do? what can you do here? It's insane. And now we get basically a side story which will add nothing, but it's nothing new. It's nothing new Super hasn't done already. Dragon Ball Daima might be also could have been called Dragon Ball Super. Turns him into kids and still continue as it would make no difference. It makes no difference if it's called Daima, Super, Super Duper. It's still modern Dragon Ball, and it just adds nothing to the. It's, to me, at least, it's no different from Broly, even if it's a completely different in terms of what kind of stories they tell. The Daima is adventure, but Dragon Ball Z Broly is just one fight, basically a movie with an another antagonist they have to fight and beat. Which will take the only things that carries over in a Super is that we have more characters, but it doesn't add anything to Goku and Vegeta's progression. Just another classmate and with his school of martial artists. And another rival for Goku because he needs more rivals because he has surpass so many of them. I this is what I don't understand. I yeah, I'm repeating myself because I try to well, it's obvious, but I don't know why Dragon Ball do Dragon Ball Super fans understand this? I'm not saying the movie's bad, it's bad. Like, assume I say the movie is good. I'm talking about these three movies. Assume they are let's assume they are all good. They are good movies. They still don't add anything. And by those movies I mean Revival of Earth, Superheroes, and Broly. They don't add anything. You could at most say that Goku and Vegeta learned to work as a team. But like, how many times do we have to see them take turns only to work together and then repeat the same thing over and over again? I'm trying. It's for me it's difficult because you can say you have a bias against Dragon Ball Super. I do, but I try to see it from the lens of a Dragon Ball Super fanboy. You got these things promised, but you don't care. Is what I'm getting. You just want more Dragon Ball. It doesn't matter what they deliver. And in that regard, do you want to complain about Daima? And I think it's your right. And I know why you don't want Daima. And you should complain about Daima. Because this is what many of the people who dislike GT were turned off. Because it's not turning just Goku into a kid, they turn everyone into a kid. On top of that, they make Goku weaker. Not take nerf a few abilities. They make him actually weaker. Goku will maybe not even be able to turn Super Saiyan. It's something that Toriyama liked, turning Goku into a kid. It's something he liked about GT. You are allowed to complain. You are allowed to look forward for Daima. Maybe you liked the concept of Goku turning into a kid. Maybe you want an adventure series and you didn't feel GT provided you with enough or wasn't as good as you would have hoped. And it's also a possibility. But why did you watch Dragon Ball Super? What did you want from Dragon Ball Super? Did you just want more transformation? And did you just like I don't know, they didn't have to have the promise that there are more universes with stronger characters. They could have just built the only god of destruction. Goku beats him in the movie, and next movie they can still bring Frieza back with his weird power up, and he could be stronger than Bills. He didn't need to be weaker than Bills. And Goku could transform into Super Saiyan Blue, which is stronger than Super Saiyan God, beat him up, and then Broly appears, and they beat Broly up with Fusion, then Cell Max appeared and Gohan gets a form, and then Talus appears, is another Saiyan who just ate fruits all his life, and his base form is stronger than Gogeta, and Goku has to fuse with the Spirit Bomb, and then we have a base form fight, and Goku beats him that way. Some shit. I don't know, maybe ChatGPT could... I should do that. I should ask ChatGPT to make a modern Dragon Ball Super movie and see how it goes. They could bring back Pilaf. Okay, Pilaf is back already. They could bring back Goku Black, and he has his own version of Ultra Instinct, and he is stronger than Merge Summers. And then we have, I have no idea. We are fanfiction territory. Dragon Ball Super is already a fanfiction. And they just cannot tell a story. Or they don't want to. They just want, as they look at what's the current trend, okay, we make something about this. They don't really care about what they are promised. What can we do with this? Can we expand this? Is there something we can provide that is tangible and people remember it for the rest of their life? Or do we just post memes and people laugh and it breaks the internet in that way? And as long as we make money, it doesn't matter about the integrity to the series or whatnot. As many animes that have legendary things and have been forgotten to time anyways, why even put the effort when you can just use the easy way out? Just post memes, just do that. Like Gohan Beast is nothing but Gohan Blanco. Ultra Instinct Goku is Goku Blanco. Jiren El Hermano. And if Dragon Ball Super were to continue and Goku, let's say Zeno were a competent fighter and gets beaten, I know Toriyama would probably introduce Zeno's dad, who is even stronger or something. This is how Toriyama is, but Dragon Ball Super is something completely different. At this point I'm losing topics to cover. I didn't know how I wanted to compromise all these issues I have in my mind to a video. And I think now the video I watched from Emish lasted was 2 months ago, but not. Yeah, let's call this. I don't know if you want to call it a podcast because I'm not only talking to myself. But I think I pretty much said what I wanted. I think he made really good points. If I could find the video, I would post it. I think I even forgot what I wanted to search right now. Oh, now I know. But maybe I will link that thing in the description, depending if I forget or don't feel like it. Like it's on Dice and Shoes. You can easily find it yourself. It's a Tournament of Power interview. Even the Toriyama designed cauliflower was mentioned. And as I think I wrapped this up.